You're listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to the show for all those who love the beautiful game of football and who want to improve their English language skills. My name is Damon. I hope you are well and enjoying good weather like we are here in Tokyo. I wonder what the weather is like in London, where Damien is based.
Hi Damon and hello to all our listeners. The weather here in London is bright but very, very cold indeed. We even had hail earlier on in the week. But I am in a good mood as it's the day after my favourite team, Tottenham, defeated Dutch side AZ Alkmaar in the second leg of their Europa League last 16 tie. Spurs won 3-1 on the night to go through 3-2 on aggregate, though it was quite tense for a long time.
Congratulations to Spurs. Well, my team, Liverpool, were dumped out of the Champions League in the round of 16 by PSG. We did some football language earlier in the week, smash and grab, describing Liverpool's lucky win late on against PSG in the first leg. You can also check out our post on cutting edge, which is something Liverpool lacked in the second leg. So, listener, if you haven't checked these out, please do. We are on all the podcast feeds out there. Just search for Language Caster or Learn English Through Football and you'll find us.
Hi, my name is Tim. I'm a Liverpool fan and you're listening to languagecaster.com.
Well, we have a special show today as we welcome Mark Bailey, who is the Director of Education from the football language company Hatriqa.com. And he will be talking about his work and, of course, look at some football language. After that, you will be giving us your predictions, Damien, for some big games this weekend.
지금 여러분은 languagecaster.com을 듣고 계십니다.
Yes, you are listening to languagecaster.com and that message was in Korean. And now, here's Damien with our guest from Hatriqa, Mark Bailey.
Right, we're very happy today to have Mark Bailey from Hatriqa. Hello Mark, how are you doing?
Hi Damien. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
It's fantastic. And can we ask a little question? What's your favourite football team, first of all, Mark?
Manchester United.
Okay, so we'll move on then. I'm joking, of course. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe, and then maybe what you do in the football world?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I am from Manchester. It's probably the first thing I should clarify, since I've said that I'm a Manchester United fan. Sometimes we get a bad reputation for having fans all over the place that's not necessarily from Manchester. But yeah, I am originally from Manchester, but I now live in London. So my situation now is that I'm a lecturer at UCL. So I work in the Institute of Education here. And then I guess sort of trying to do a short version of a story to explain like why I might be on your podcast. So I'm at UCL teaching English here, but part of my research here, I started to do research into how Premier League clubs had language tuition and language provision for their players, for their coaches. So that was a research project I had. And then through a department at UCL called the Knowledge Lab, and then later through UCL Innovation Enterprise, we then sort of commercialized some of the ideas from that and turned it into an actual commercial venture. So now we have a business called Hatriqa. So that's the connection to football. And then what Hatriqa does is that we use the power of football to help people to learn English. So there's basically sort of two ways we're doing that. One is for people in the football industry. So this could be players, coaches, referees, even fans. So in that case, it is real football English. So what do you say when you're on the pitch? What do you say in team meetings? How do you give an interview after a match? How do you do a post-match debrief, whatever it may be, tactics, etc. So that's for people in the football industry. And then the other side that we're doing is general English, so daily conversation. But in particular, we're working in literacy. So we have part of the business called the Soccer Reader Method. So we're working with the Jamie Johnson series of books. So it's a best-selling series of books written by Dan Friedman. And that's in the UK and America, that's aimed at native speaker kids, probably around the age of 8 to 12, 13 will be their kind of peak age that they're aiming at. But it's also been turned into a BBC TV series as well. So we're working with the Jamie Johnson books, and we're using them to create a literacy program for native speaker kids and also for non-native speaker kids as well. So we've got the two sides there. There's the football English, and then there's the general English, and particularly literacy.
That's absolutely fantastic. Sounds really, really interesting. I'm just wondering, can people outside of football, would they be able to access any of these kind of materials or books or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think, especially Jamie Johnson stuff, I mean, the books, the theme is football. I mean, the setting is football, but it's about the story of Jamie Johnson, who starts off as a 10-year-old school kid who just loves football, and his dream is to go from the playground to being a professional player. And then the books follow his journey as he gets older, a little bit like Harry Potter. He gets older in each book. So then by the end, spoiler alert, he does become a professional player. So yeah, the books themselves it's not Roy of the Rovers kind of football books. It's not necessarily describing action in a game. I mean, there's a little bit of that, just as in Harry Potter, there's a little bit about Quidditch, but it's actually really about the story of Jamie and his friends, his family, all the issues that happen in his life and at school, and challenges that he faces growing up and trying to follow his dream of being a football player. So it's definitely accessible for people that are not really into football.
That sounds fantastic.
This is really interesting. I'm especially interested in what kind of football language Hatriqa helps professional players and coaches with. As mentioned, the language on the pitch and in the changing rooms is covered, but I wonder if there's any work on cliches like a game of two halves, or they wanted it more, to help understand the narrative surrounding football built by fans and the media, for example.
Here at LanguageCaster, we talk about the language of football like you, and we're always interested to hear what people kind of think about that language, or what kind of favorite cliches or cliches that they don't like at all. So how would you let's start off with this, with Manchester United. What kind of language would you use to describe your team in general? And then maybe we'll talk about this season.
Oh, but the in general part seems so long ago. I guess the image, the reputation of Manchester United going back throughout the decades, I guess you would think of Manchester United as being an attacking team. It's probably the first thing you would expect. They usually play with wingers, exciting attacking wingers, like with fast wingers, and then lots of crossing into the box. Thinking back to sort of some of the famous players like Van Nistelrooy. What else have we got in there? Obviously, even like when Ronaldo was there, Wayne Rooney. It's typically these kind of exciting wide players. So to go to the original question, like what words could I use? General, yeah, I think attacking is probably the word that you would say. Exciting, attacking is what we would like to think of as Manchester United fans. More recently, disappointing would be a good word. I think that's got two meanings, hasn't it? Really disappointing. One is the feeling, like as a fan, I feel disappointed. So it's disappointing in that respect, but also like the quality of the team as well. You say, it's a disappointing team, isn't it? It's quite low quality. So disappointing, frustrating as well would be another word where, we're always hoping that we're going to turn the corner. We're hoping that this season will be better, and then next season will be better. So I think disappointing, frustrating. And then to use a real football phrase, maybe in transition would be a phrase. You hear that quite a lot. It's in transition. So we're going from a bad place to a good place, we hope.
I like that. And as a Spurs fan, I feel your pain.
Well, recently Damien talked about a cliche regarding his team, Tottenham Hotspur, which was Spursy. I wonder if Mark has any cliches he likes or identifies with his team.
Can I ask a question about football cliches? Do you have a football cliche that you like or you dislike?
I don't think I have one that I like. I mean, there's so many cliches out there. I mean, obviously I'm 45 years old now, so I've watched so many games on TV and seen so many interviews and so many bits of commentary that you hear so many cliches, don't you? There's whether it's things like credit to the lads, that's one that's even the foreign players now. They've obviously been doing media training as part of their language learning. They do media training at the club, so somebody has obviously told them, yeah, just say credit to the lads, credit to the lads. What does that mean? Yeah, credit to the lads. Yeah, everyone worked hard, everyone did well. Yeah, we go again. I know Virgil van Dijk, I've noticed in every interview he gives, he always says, it is what it is. If they've won a game, well, it is what it is. We've got 3 points. There's nothing we can do. That's the result. So now we have to think about the next game. Yeah, so it is what it is.
But it is interesting, as you mentioned there, a lot of the players who've come from overseas who don't have English as their first language, to still be able to do media work, straight after a game, it's still impressive. They may just need to know a couple of phrases to get them through, kind of thing,
Yeah, well, one thing that always surprises me is the actual interviewer. So you would think that they have training on how to ask questions to non-native players, non-native speaker players. And particularly, you'd think they'd have a little bit of a short list of, okay, today's game is, for example, Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur, and then who's man of the match towards the end of the game. You'd think they'd have a little profile of, is this guy any good at English? Is he not so good? Yeah. So then you'd think they would grade their questions, but surprisingly, they don't really do that, do they? The interviewers still ask really idiomatic questions, quite difficult questions that I think really only a native speaker would know. So you end up with these answers where the players have got these prepared answers that pretty much no matter what the question is, they will give you the same answer, right? It's like, I'm just really happy that we won the game. It's not about me. It's about the team. That's not what the question was, but that's what the answer will be.
That was great stuff from Mark, and we'll be hearing more from him over the next couple of weeks. I thought his point about the interviewers for non-English players being more aware of how to ask questions or how to help the player in the interview was really important. Thanks, Mark, and check out hatriqa.com to find out more about what Mark does. Next up is our prediction section, and we've got some fantastic games to try to predict, including my team taking on Newcastle United in the League Cup. Can Liverpool make it 11 trophies in this competition? Or can Newcastle get their first silverware for over 70 years? Let's hear what Damien thinks about that and the other games.
Right, let's start with the big game this weekend in England as Liverpool face Newcastle, the Carabao Cup, that's the League Cup final at Wembley, the first domestic silverware to be decided. Newcastle have not won a domestic trophy in 70 years. That's more than Spurs, and so their fans are desperate to win this one. But I think Liverpool, despite injuries to key players and the disappointment of being eliminated from the Champions League earlier in the week, will have too much for the Newcastle side. 2-0 to Liverpool for me. Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. So another team that were eliminated on penalties in the Champions League earlier in the week were, of course, Atletico, and they host Barcelona in a top-of-the-table clash in La Liga. I think Atleti will bounce back and win this one, and maybe even go on to win La Liga. 1-0 for me to the home side. The big game in France sees Ligue 1 leaders Paris Saint-Germain host Marseille in Le Classique. Paris are 16 points clear of their rivals and should win this one as well. Maybe 2-0 to PSG for me. There is a big London derby this weekend in the Premier League as Arsenal take on Chelsea on Sunday. I think Arsenal will win this one and maintain their very slim hopes of catching Liverpool. 2-1 to the Gunners. And finally, the big game in Italy sees Atalanta host Inter. Currently, Inter are 3 points clear of Atalanta, so the home side will have to win in order to get back in the title race. I think they might. 2-1 to Atalanta. Those are my predictions. What do you think will happen in these and other games this weekend?
Thanks, Damien. I hope Liverpool do run out 2-0 winners, but their recent history in finals points to extra time and maybe even penalties. The Atletico versus Barcelona and Atalanta versus Inter matches should be crackers, and I see a draw in Spain and a win for Inter in Italy.
Esteu escoltant languagecaster.com.
Okay, if you have any questions about football words or phrases that you hear or read, or have any feedback on our podcast, please contact us via email at admin@languagecaster.com. Visit our website to explore our football language forum. You can ask questions about football language there. And of course, don't forget to check out our huge glossary of football terms filled with expressions, phrases, and cliches about the beautiful game. And help to support us by spreading the word about our podcast and football language site. We're on many of the social media outlets such as Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, and more.
你依家收聽緊 languagecaster.com。
Thanks for that message, which was in Cantonese. And thanks everyone for listening today. And another big thank you to Mark from Hatriqa. And before we go, we'd love to hear from you and to find out how we are getting on. So we have posted a link in this post and on our site for a short survey. If you get a few minutes, then that would be great.
Enjoy all the football this week. I'm going to see some non-league football on Saturday as Dulwich Hamlet take on Cheshunt. And of course, I'm really looking forward to the top of the table clashes this weekend. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra. Enjoy all the football.